This is going to be very quick of the summary. I know the boring blah 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 part, but we'll get it done fast, I promise. So basically what happened last episode was the heroes infiltrated Deku's base. They were fighting more of the robots. Principal Nezu is there, by the way, hacking in and stuff. Melissa's shield did escape. So she did escape and she is still running away at that time. And also, well, Endeavor and Sir Night-Eye in this timeline made it more down the corridor and, came across more threats and all that other juicy stuff. That's really all I have to say. So now we can get into the episode. Then we cut to All Might in the ground as he's heavily breathing, as he looks up at, Bloody Rose, or how he knows her, Nana Shimura, since, Villain Deku told him who she is. As he's breathing there, kind of bloodied and bruised, and in the ground, no energy to stand up on his own for this time. And right when she was about to punch him in the face again, she stopped for a brief moment. Then she turned her head and flew away very fast. And All Might's like, where did she fucking go? As he flops back and just lays there as he hears someone running towards him, and it's Melissa Shield. She says, Uncle All Might, are you okay? No, duh, you're probably not okay. Sorry, I'm saying the most stupidest questions right now. And All Might cuts her off saying, it's fine, I got it. You mind kind of helping me up and getting out of this, this hole that I am currently in? Or at least call help or something? I don't know anymore. My brain's boggled. I joggled it up in this brain. And Melissa kind of laughs a little bit as she says, fair enough. Do you have a phone? Probably not. You probably have a headset. Try to use that, I guess. Here, let me help you. And while that's going up in this goofy ass bubble bid, but still, in the end, gotta make jokes. But we cut to the perspective of Villain Deku once again, as we get to see what happened, what he set up to basically call back one of his greatest creations, or what he perceives as one of his greatest creations. And what he's currently doing is, then what Deku is currently saying to Mei, he says, since I made it, time for us to dip, but we're gonna leave something for the heroes to deal with, because, hey, we got more facilities around Japan anyway. Why not make this difficult for them? And Mei is like, you know what? Fair enough. That's a really good idea, actually. Since we've been building up our resources and stuff, and after the whole Saikai massacre that we did, we got a lot of their money. And Deku's like, okay, I don't know why you need to tell me that again, but okay, I'll take it, I guess. But anyway, let's head back to the main place where we have, our very, very helpful little medic. Because I bet I have probably some injuries that I have not noticed at all. So then he gets into a chair right next to her after, saying all the stuff that he said. He pushes a button and both seats go into this weird bubble dome thing and retract, but leaving something in the room for the heroes to deal with when they finally get there. But speaking of the heroes, we cut to their perspective of what's going on. And we cut to the specific ones, Endeavor and Sir Night-Eye. And what we all get to see of their perspectives, the current fight between Endeavor and, the ice machine, basically. And Sir Night-Eye is trying to help him as much as humanly possible in this fight. Because, Endeavor's throwing haymakers, using freaking, some of his fire moves. I just can't remember the fucking life for me, so I'm just gonna make some up, okay? All right, we're all good with that? Yep, okay. Anyway, as he's going in using one of his fire fists, punching the machine in the face, but it counters and uses an ice fist to punch right back at Endeavor. Both of their fists colliding and then releasing a lot of steam everywhere because, again, it's ice and fire hitting each other. So basically, when everything's all steamed up, Sir Night-Eye looks into the future, since he did touch Endeavor and can see Endeavor's future. And that's when he froze one of his heavy little pawn things that he has. He froze it at the machine, hitting it in the side of the face, moving it. But it didn't stop it. It's like Deku has made a new variant of his machines. Well, the Mechanist, but you get what I mean. And Endeavor takes the advantage of this moment to basically use all his fire into like a beam to try to hit the machine in the chest area to at least burn the circuits, so then he can't basically, function anymore. But the machine counters and says, "Nice try, meatbag," as the machine basically drops its chest temperature down to almost zero. So when Endeavor hits him with the fire beam, it just regulates the temperature in the middle section of the machine. As the robot counters and hits him with an ice blast in return, freezing Endeavor's arm in the process, as he's trying to Endeavor in response trying to burn off the ice. The machine tries to go in and break Endeavor's arm, but in the process, Sir Night-Eye comes in and basically gives a good classic haymaker to that machine, nudging it pretty far back in response. And it's catched off guard by this, and it looks and says, "I'm outnumbered here. Whatever. I am meant to collect data." And it just basically straight up said what its purpose was. And freaking Sir Night-Eye's like, "Data? Oh." So he's trying to learn. And Endeavor finally, from being stunned for a bit, comes back and double kicks the robot by kind of launching himself with the fire, but instead of using the fire to attack, he uses his legs to attack to see if that would change things up for the machine. And it really pretty much does, because it catches the thing off guard. Because, all it knows about Endeavor is Endeavor likes to counter with so much of his fire. Just his fire, so most of his power. So I didn't expect this, knocking the machine pretty far back before it recalculated and countered Endeavor's move, basically not allowing itself to touch the ground, but moving in a way where it makes Endeavor slide off of it, and it goes in and punches Endeavor regularly, kind of sending him into a wall for a bit. And Sir Night-Eye throws another one of his little very dense pawns at him, at the robot, and basically it hits him. It hits the machine again, basically stunning it again and pinning it up against the wall for a bit. As Endeavor gets off the wall and Sir Night-Eye walks over and says, "You good, Endeavor?" And Endeavor's like, "This is annoying. We can't keep letting this Mechanist get away with this. We have to actually put him down." And Sir Night-Eye kind of agrees with Endeavor, agreeing with this scenario, because the fact being that the Mechanist is way too dangerous to keep alive. So basically, they're doing a Jedi reference. But either way, they continue with the fight as Endeavor continues trying to beat up the robot, and Sir Night-Eye assisting him in this endeavor. I know, pun intended. That's when finally Mirko shows up and finally does one of her Luna kicks, kicking the robot in the head and finally breaking all the way through and turning that piece of junk into scrap metal. And she says, finally catch up with you guys. You know, like, I had a lot of fun today. Gotta fight a lot of things. Oh, trust me. And that's when Endeavor's like, focus, we gotta go. He's probably trying to escape or something. And that's when basically Mirko shuts up and they all book it. They like run towards the location. And Sir Night-Eye is guiding them the whole entire time, going over there and everything, you know? That's what he's currently doing. And that's when they finally get to another, you know, around the corner, and they finally are about to get there, but that's when Nezu, you know, talks to them in their communication devices, saying, hey guys, be careful. The room that you guys are heading towards looks like it's labeled experimental chamber. It's close to the, well, center of where the Mechanist is, but you guys have to be careful. And the other heroes have finally finished up what they're also doing, and they're making their way towards you as well. And Endeavor says, copy that. And Sir Night-Eye says, okay, understandable. Keep an eye out. And after they said that, that's when they are rushing more down the hallways and all that type of stuff. Rushing down and defeating robots in the process. You know, Mirko just losing her shit of basically destroying robots at this point. Literally, at one point she spun so hard that she went like a blade, literally destroying a good amount of these robots that were in the way, and Endeavor just shot like a big beam, killing another half. But they continue moving down the hallways of this labyrinth of a base, and the only way they're being guided was from Sir Night-Eye the whole entire time, by the way. And they finally make it to the control room, and when they finally bust down the door and everything, he's gone. He disappeared. Well, so far that they know, both of them are gone. They do look around for a bit to try to see what they can get until the room starts shaking, like if something's gonna happen. And something did happen. The floor underneath them started breaking open, and the computer shut off as Mirko, freaking Sir Night-Eye, and also motherfucking Endeavor was like, what the fuck? As they all fell through the hole, landing on something as it rised up and pushed open the command center, letting everything else around it fall into the big abyss down below. Then it reached up to try to knock off the heroes that it's on its head as they jump back or fly off to avoid its attack. As they land onto the ground, they see it, a giant machine. This was a setup from the very beginning, or, well, that's what they feel like it's been. But that's when the giant robot turns itself looking at them as it says, your destruction is inevitable. My creator will rule the rest of this world. Your defeat at my hands will be assured. Then, after it said that, it looked up as it was slowly taking off. The rocket feet that it had and the giant jetpack on its back was shooting out a lot of flames as the heroes who made it there had to jump back to make sure they didn't get hit by the flames. Well, all of them except for Endeavor, as he realizes at this point all the other heroes who are still trying to get to where they are not going to make it, and Mirko cannot fly and Sir Night-Eye cannot fly. So he has to do the only thing that makes sense. He has to fight it alone. because, well, he has no fucking clue where All Might went. So he's gonna show up All Might and try to take down this mechanical beast. Then what Endeavor does in response to this, he starts flying up after it as he says, "Leave it to me. I'm gonna take this thing down better than All Might could ever think." And that's when Sir Night-Eye is like, "Wait, Endeavor, don't do it alone." And it was already too late because the machine has flew far away already at this point, because it just went fast at some point of takeoff. So Endeavor has to fly after it. As that's going up, Sir Night-Eye luckily saw ahead of the future, so he already called for a vehicle to help him get to where Endeavor's going to end up, because he's using his future vision to predict certain outcomes. But that's what happens. And the machine, where it's headed, is headed to a populated city. Intentionally. This time, it's going to actually do something, as it's opening up missiles silos ready to fire them at the city, as Endeavor finally catches up to it and destroys one of the silos as it turns around its giant mechanical body to look at Endeavor as it shoots some of those missiles at him. Endeavor, using his flames to make himself dodge in midair, shoots some of the flames at the machine, blowing up some of the missiles and dodging others. But when he does dodge the missiles turn around and go after him as he flies around the big mechanical beast. But he realizes it's looking at the more bigger heat sources. So he flies near where the jetpack is, and two of the missiles hit the robot's jetpack, destabilizing it for a brief moment, as it says, "Oh, you heroic scum, I will crush you, and you will fail at stopping me from completing my mission." As he says that, the machine boosts itself 10 times more faster than before, going more closer to the city, as Endeavor flies in and tries to destroy one of the rockets from the foot, as he's shooting a beam of fire while still, making himself go forward. And it is starting to make it spark and tiny explosions, but before he could succeed, the machine already felt the disturbance as it slowed itself down intentionally, making it kick Endeavor in the face with one of its gigantic foot, but by an inch, making Endeavor spin out of control for a second as the robot boosts. And it actually decides to crash itself into the city, knowing it's not going to actually be destroyed, but knowing it will destroy some buildings and other stuff in the city, as it does actually achieve this, in this moment. It achieves it, crashing in and knocking a bunch of buildings off, some tipping over, pushing up dust clouds everywhere, people running away in fear and terror of what they have saw. And what are they seeing? As this is just a big monster that is just coming in. And what it uses next is a chain gun to shoot anyone who's moving in front of it. It doesn't matter whoever it is, it's just gunning them down regardless, as Endeavor comes in and freaking finally makes it. But unfortunately, a few heroes who are locally around there were caught off guard from this, so he does see their dead bodies scattered all over the place, freaking organs everywhere. But Endeavor knows he has one thing to do, so he uses his heat and overheats the chain gun on the giant robot, making it explode on its hand as it turns itself towards him, and they have an actual brawl. The machine trying to punch and kick Endeavor and use its weapons on him, and Endeavor using his heat to freaking hit the robot, the mechanical menace, as it's not doing so much damage. The fire, yes, he could destroy its weapon systems, but it can't destroy the giant robot as a whole. It's not overheating it enough. So Endeavor has to push himself and go beyond plus ultra style as he turns from his usual fiery orange to a white fire. This is the hardest that Endeavor has pushed himself. One of the hardest, as it actually is starting to cause some damage to the machine. But it does eventually run up and swipe at Endeavor with its giant hands, as someone in this moment of time, because they can hear a helicopter sound, it's jumped out of the helicopter, throwing some of its, pawns at the mechanical hand that was gonna grab Endeavor or maybe even swat him across the ground. They didn't know. But basically he throws those two to try to delay the hand at least a little bit and push Endeavor out of the way until he got hit with the hand instead. And when Endeavor looks back to see who it is and where he was about to say, "I don't need your damn help," he looked and it was Sir Night-Eye. And unfortunately, he did not make it. He died on impact because this machine, this mechanical beast, hit with so much force it was gonna kill Endeavor. But he was lucky. He survived by somebody coming in and saving him from his own naivety. And this made Endeavor so angry that he fired up and finally hit more and more of this machine with more and more fire as it tried to do the same thing with its other arm to try to hit Endeavor. But no, Endeavor this time uses his fire as a beam to cut off the arm. And then when the robot tried to switch and use the other arm to punch him, he burned right through the middle of the whole entire hand, all the way down to the wrist, to the elbows, to everything. As the machine is screaming out in pain, like if it could truly feel its body being melted. And Endeavor finally hits a big blast on its head, finally destroying the machine, letting it stand there since it has technically died. And he finally reports saying, "I stopped it, but sadly there's a lot of casualties. Sir Night-Eye did not make it." And all the other heroes are pretty stunned from this. And All Might, who is still with Melissa Shield at the time, and walking down the mountain on a road, basically, he's standing there for a second, frozen, after hearing what Endeavor said happened to his old sidekick. Sir Night-Eye died today, and it caught him off guard. He did not expect this. He thought they had more time. He thought he could try to make up with him. He thought so many things. But unfortunately, All Might realized he's all out of time, and it was way, way, way too late to make up anything. And because of this, he is now in misery, as Villain Deku wanted this outcome to begin with the whole entire fucking time. As Principal Nezu also heard what happened, where he still was in the area looking at the map plans, says, "We were tricked. We were tricked." And that's where I'm going to leave it off. Oh yeah, before you go see my past self explain something, I'm just going to tell you, next episode, it's not going to carry on from this point. It may carry on Deku's point of view. Just adding this last little bit. So enjoy the end credits here. Hey, if you made it to the end, good job, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Basically, that's really all I had to say to you guys. Just hey, thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for listening to Villain Deku. And very soon, I think season 2 of it is going to happen. Yeah. So pat yourself on the back if you wanted season 2 of Villain Deku to happen. If you didn't, then oh well, I guess. But otherwise, I'm just telling you what I'm telling you. And also, tiny little detail I'm just going to say. Make sure to spread my content around, tell your friends, tell whoever you want. to listen to my what ifs, you know? But that's all I have to say. So, peace, I guess.